Right. Run for the Fallen. Run for the Fallen is an organized tribute run that was established for us back in 2012, and it is one of the arms of the organization of a subsidiary, if you will, of Honor and Remember, focused on the comfort side of our organization. You know, the organization was built on four principles. Haven't really talked about them that much, but establishing the flag, the Honor and Remember flag, as a national symbol, not just federally, but in every state, in every city, in every community, in every county. Establish it on flagpoles all across America. Uh, Second is educate. Educate America as to why it's important that we remember that freedom comes at a price. I mean, it can't be any simpler than that. Education. Um, Men and women are losing their lives. We need to teach people that it is important to be appreciative, to be thankful, and the Honor Remember flag becomes that vehicle of appreciation. Presentation, the third element of our organization. Establish, educate, present. You know, it's the benevolent arm of our organization to present personalized Honor and Remember flags to every individual family who has experienced a military loss. That's one of our goals. To date, we have presented almost 6,000 flags. It's been about 400 a year, I believe, more than one a day. And the fourth principle or foundational goal in our organization is comfort. And where there are a lot of things that we do to bring comfort to the families because they are a part of our family, right? As we bring more people together, we become a larger family. We can then, love on each other, share our stories, lean on each other in a lot of different ways. We have put so many families together that had not known each other previously. And so we are building a community. And so through the principle of comfort, we're able to do a number of things for the families. We bring them together for a banquet every year in Virginia Beach and in other states through chapters. We are able to bring more families together. We have events and that we participate in, concerts, uh, whatever it may be, where we are presenting flags. We've put golf tournaments together. There's so many different things, but one of the most significant, continuous, consecutive, and encompassing uh, events that we put together is Run for the Fallen. Now, our Run for the Fallen, we just finished our 14th annual Virginia Run for the Fallen. I'm wearing a shirt here, as you can see. We're in our 250th anniversary. Virginia Run for the Fallen. We ran for 4 days, 250 miles, and called out the names of 818 heroes, stopping 1 mile each increment along our route to call out one or more names. We're doing this in a number of states, I think maybe 12 states, where we have Run for the Fallens in those states. And we're calling out loud the names of those heroes in the state who died during the War on Terror. And I know we have runs in New York, in North Carolina, in Florida, in Kentucky, in Tennessee, in New England. I know I'm missing them. Colorado, a number of states. And this all began really way back in '08 when the organization itself was founded. And it was just it's an interesting story in that on Memorial Day of 2008 is when I unveiled the Honor and Remember flag to become our national symbol. That was the whole purpose of the organization, to create a national symbol of remembrance. And so I unveiled this flag in 2008. Well, about 2 weeks later, I learned of a college student who had decided that he was going to run across America in honor of his college roommate who had passed serving in the Army, Michael Cleary. Now, the college student's name was John Bologna, and John was a runner, and he wanted to do something. He had lost his bud, and he wanted to do something to, in honor and tribute of him. So he organized this run across America from California to Arlington Cemetery through 11 states. Okay, at that time, he just ran straight through from Fort Irwin, California, which is a military training facility, to Arlington Cemetery through 11 states. And at that time, in 2008, there were about 3,800 casualties from the War on Terror at that time. We had gone into Iraq in '03, I believe. Of course, we believe the War on Terror began with the bombing of the USS Cole, October 12th of 2000. And so between October 12th of 2000 and I'm not sure if John accounted for that date in particular, but at the time of his organized run, he had about 3,800. So he ran that distance over the course of about 70 days. He ran 3,800 miles. And he had a little minivan, and he had a handful of people helping him, and off they went. And they completed their trip. They ended sometime in August, I believe. They started June 14th, Flag Day, and they ended 70 days later, whenever that was, or sometime in August, I believe. And I had contacted John while this was happening and said, hey, John, we established a flag that honors all of our fallen military throughout history. You are running for the GWAT heroes. Let me send you a flag. And would you mind running with it at some point? And so that's what John did. We sent him a flag, partway through. He received the flag, he loved the flag, and he wanted to be a part of the mission. My mom was actually in Arlington. I wasn't able to be there when John arrived on that August day. So that was in '08. Out of his run, a lot of Run for the Fallen sprung up around the country. I think maybe 26. And all of those runs were 5Ks, very small, one-day events. And they would contact John and say, well, John, I want to do a Run for the Fallen. Can I use the name Run for the Fallen? And John's only stipulation was that as long as they weren't raising money for themselves and that any excess money went back to the Gold Star community, then he was okay with them using his name. So that's what happened. And one of those runs was created in the state of New Jersey. The New Jersey Run for the Fallen. And I was contacted by the director at that time, Mike Simpson. And Mike said, listen, we love the flag. We love what you're doing. They built this monument with a flagpole and a plaque, and it was very beautiful. And he said, listen, we're doing this New Jersey Run for the Fallen. We would like your son Tony to be the first mile, and we want to carry the Honor Remember flag through our route. They were doing a 3-day run at the time. Can't remember how many miles they ran. And they were doing it very similar to the way John was doing it. 1 mile at a time, stopping, reading the names of heroes, and then moving on. And so I went up there, participated in that run, and actually for a couple of years participated in that run, maybe 3 years, if my recollection isn't at all accurate. Anyway, several years into it, I thought, we should be doing a Run for the Fallen. And this is what our mission is about, right? Making sure that these loved ones' names are not forgotten. And so I reached out to John, who is now my friend, and said, John, I would like to do a Run for the Fallen between Virginia Beach and Arlington Cemetery. So let's run to Arlington. Arlington's in Virginia. And so we began to organize. Actually, Mike Simpson came down, Laura came in from Arizona, and we organized the first Virginia Run for the Fallen. And I believe that was in 2012, was our first one. And it went great. I mean, we learned a lot. We incorporated some different things from what New Jersey was doing. I wanted to see things just a little bit different. And, we got the families out. It was very well received. And so from that point, Laura ended up doing one in Arizona. Don ended up doing one in Indiana. I think we started one in New York. We just got the ball rolling because it was important that we call these names out loud. And we thought it would be nice that the families would be able to participate in something that was especially meaningful to them individually, right? One of the statements about the flag is that we will honor their sacrifice and remember them individually by name. So we're remembering them individually by name with the gifting of a personalized flag, but also as we are doing events such as Run for the Fallen. So for a couple of 3 years, we were doing several states annually that we had begun to incorporate. And I thought I should do this in every state. We need to have a Run for the Fallen in every single state because we need to be able to say all the names out loud of every fallen in every state, not just in one state here or another state and just get a few of them. We needed to remember every single one. And so I went back to John. I said, John, what are you doing with Run for the Fallen? I mean, you did one. That was in 2008. He hadn't done another one all the way to 12. And then we were probably into 15 before I realized that I would like to do more of these. And John said, well, I didn't really have any idea of doing any more. I did the one. That's what I wanted to do for my roommate. And I completed it, and I'm happy with it, and I'm kind of done. So John was going to go off and continue his education. He got his master's degree. He went on to get his doctorate. He started a family. So many things were happening in his life. And I said, I'll tell you what, let Honor and Remember as an organization absorb Run for the Fallen, give us all the intellectual properties, and I promise you that we will keep this tribute going, and we will actually grow it. And that became a part of what we did as an organization, because it gave us personal interaction with the families. Beyond the banquets and beyond taking a few families to events here and there, we actually could put together an event by which we could remember every single hero by name, right? And that was important, because if you think about it, and we don't have names on the shirts this year, but typically we have all the names that we're running for. There would be 800 names on this shirt. And one of the protocols of what we do as we're doing this is we have a group of trained runners. I say trained, marathon trained runners, because this is not a fun run. This isn't a pickup run. You really have to be in shape. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know your body. You have to be able to do the miles. As I just said, we ran 250 miles over the last 4 days. I can't even run 1 mile. I'll admit that to you right now. But what happens is we have a caravan, if you will. We have police escorts in the front. We have an ambulance and a medic team in the back. We have an advance team that goes ahead and meets families, gives them a rose and a shirt. We have a lead car that paces our runners, because we have to stay on time and on route. We have our runners. We run about 2 to 6 runners at any given time. And we have 2 RVs that house the balance of our runners who are not out at that moment. And they may be resting, refreshing, stretching, whatever it might be. We start with about 16 runners. We break them up into 4 groups of 4. And that varies depending on the run, the state, the ability of the runners. But let's just use that as an example. Those 4 teams rotate every 2 miles. So we might have, so if you look at that, every 2 miles, and then we have put out markers 1 mile ahead, which is about 10 minutes as far as running goes. 1 mile separation between markers for all 250 miles. And then we put our group on the ground, of our runners. And those runners are carrying 4 full-size flags. They're carrying the U.S. flag, recognizing our nation, right? And those our heroes died for. The state flag, representing the state that we're running in, and those state's heroes. The honor and remember flag, back up. The honor and sacrifice flag, which is a flag we created to honor fallen first responders, because we're being escorted by law enforcement and fire, and we want to make sure that they know we haven't forgotten their brother's sacrifice. And then we carry the honor and remember flag, that flag that we hope becomes our national symbol of remembrance. But we're honoring and remembering, right, those heroes that we're running for. So they're carrying 4 full-size flags. So they're carrying them, and they're carrying a set of flags. They're carrying a set of flags for every hero that we're going to be calling the name out loud when we stop. So we come to a marker. There's a number of names on that marker. We're carrying a small set of flags, 1 for each of those names. We stop. We come to attention. We address any Gold Star families that may be there. And then we start reading the names. And as we read the names, we hold up in reverence a set of flags, honor and remember, and U.S. flags. We touch the ground in reverence to their death. And then we read all of the names. We come to a hand salute. And then we pick up the next marker, and then we move on. And we do that every 10 minutes for about 10 hours a day for 4 days. The last day shorter. And that's what a Run for the Fallen consists of. And in Virginia, we did that for 250 miles. We had 229 stops, I believe. And we called out 818 names. So this is what a run looks like. This is the concept of a run that we hope to duplicate state after state. And next week, we did Florida already this year. Next week, we're doing Indiana. And then we're doing North Carolina. And then New England. And I believe Colorado, Georgia, Tennessee. And we have, and New York. I forgot New York, sorry. So, yeah, Virginia, Indiana, New York, North Carolina, New England. New England covers Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. And then Georgia, Kentucky, Colorado. You can look on the website. My memory's not that great. Anyway, our hope is that we are able to do a run in all 50 states eventually. That would be great. Let me tell you about 2018. So on the 10th anniversary of Run for the Fallen and Honor and Remember, we decided that we were going to repeat John's run, but now since Run for the Fallen was our subsidiary, we were going to put it on steroids. So we were going to make this the largest fallen veteran tribute ever achieved. Same basic premise. We were going to run from California to Arlington Cemetery, but we added 8 more states. We were now running through 19 states. We had an entire crew behind us, including videographers, and we did do a documentary on this. And we planned on running and naming out loud 20,000 heroes. 20,000 heroes. So you can see, John ran for 3,800. We ran for 20,000. It got to be so, can't think of the right word, but so relevant, I guess is the best way of saying it, that we began reading the names of heroes who had died after we left on the run. So we were reading all the way up to, this is why I say it was the most comprehensive, is because we were reading the names of those that had fallen up to a couple of days to when we finished. It was incredible. And that moment when we realized that we were now reading, we left on April 7th, 2018. When we began reading the names for April 8th, it was very sobering, as you can imagine. And so this is our Run for the Fallen initiative. And it is our hope that we build these runs, that we run through communities, we get every citizen involved, we let them see the flags that we're carrying. We often have the stops right in front of businesses or homes or wherever that might be, because remember, it's 1 mile stop, 1 mile stop, 1 mile stop. And so very often we have people standing on the side of the road right there, We are calling for families to come and stand at their marker. If they, are in that state, we let all the Gold Star families in that state know. It is quite a comprehensive and immersive experience. And you could create one right there in your own hometown. It could be a multi-day event, or it could be a single-day event. We actually have both that we can help you achieve. Contact us and let us know that you want to do a run in your state. But here's what's coming up. Our 20th anniversary, 2028. And we're going to plan the second most comprehensive veteran tribute ever conceived. Except this will become the best. Because it's my hope now, 10 years later, it's not my hope that we have 20, 40,000 heroes, but if you take the dates and extrapolate how many dates there have been, potentially dates of death, and I will tell you, just about every single day there is a death. Now, you may not hear about it, but there's a lot of military deaths, whether it be through casualty of accident, medical, post-traumatic stress, accidents, training, and combat. So there's a lot of activity in the armed forces. And so if you extrapolate the number of dates, we believe that there are going to be approximately 10,000 dates of death. One thing that I didn't tell you is that we, in 2018, we marked our route by dates of death. So if someone died, we started with October 12, 2000, but the next date of death wasn't until November 4th. That would be the next mile, if you get my understanding. So every mile was the next consecutive date of death. So we feel that we can interpret that we will have about 10,000 dates of death, almost twice as many individual dates as we had in 2018. And therefore, we're going to be running 1 mile for every date of death, and therefore 10,000 miles. So we have built a route, a 10,000 mile route, which will take us about 6 months to achieve. But we are going to not just run through 19 states, we are going to run through 48 states. So our route will now touch every single border in our 48 contiguous states. And we will plan something for Alaska and Hawaii as well. So this will be, as I say, one of the most comprehensive efforts to call names out loud ever conceived. And you guys can be a part of that. We are going to be planning all through 2027. There is so much we need. We need a place to stay every night for, probably a dozen people. We need runners to come in and commit to running. We need food every night. We need gasoline to get our vehicles across those states. We need people on the ground, helping us to organize and let families know where we're going to be. All of that can happen through you. You could take a day, you could take a week, you could take an area. And so, I'm asking that somehow you think about this, that you give it some serious consideration, and then join us at some capacity. We had hundreds of families come out in 2018, probably 500 to 1,000 families. And I can't imagine that it won't be at least that or double across America. And we need funding, right? We're going to need nutrition. Those of you out there have businesses. We're probably going to need apparel, running gear, all kinds of different things that will help us. And we're going to make this happen. And one of the things I want to emphasize is that in 2028, right now I've been talking about, not just in this broadcast, but HR 1363. We are trying to get the honor member flag nationally adopted federally right through Congress. We have a bill in Congress, and I'm trying to, with an enormous team, trying to get this passed by Memorial Day of 2026. Our 50th anniversary of our country. What better time than to acknowledge the 250 years of sacrifice? So I believe that when we pass it this year, that 27 becomes that organizational year that we plan for 28. And then 28 becomes that educational uh, event that enables us to take the honor remember flag to every single state and have it recognized and acknowledged everywhere. And let's say we don't get it passed in 26. Then we reintroduce it again in 27, 28. In the next administration, not the next, but the last half of this administration. And 2028 becomes an awareness that we need to have a national symbol of remembrance. So either way, the flag becomes a focal point. And so that's where we are. If you want to, reach out, please do. You can reach me at contact@honorremember.org, or there's a lot of email addresses. Go to honorandremember.org, and as we begin to get closer, we'll start putting up the route. We'll start building the plan, and we'll start getting people involved. But you could be thinking about it now, because it will come very, very fast. Remember that we have an initiative called the Declaration of Remembrance. If you have not signed, please sign. We're not anywhere near 1 million signatures. Let's not let apathy overcome. Let's make this statement a reality, okay? Let's stand for each one of these heroes that have given their lives for our country. All right, my time is up. God bless you. I really hope that the audio worked out and that this broadcast actually went out, since I'm driving at 80 miles an hour down the highway, headed back from Arlington Cemetery, where we just concluded the 14th annual Virginia Run for the Fallen. God bless you guys. I so appreciate your support. Help us in whatever way you can. There's so much to be done, and we can't do it without you. Thank you.